Last time I implemented the separating axis theorem for the collision detection between two rectangles. And in this episode I keep working with the separating axis theorem so that I can use it for collision response as well, and also for circles, not only for rectangles. I need two variables to solve the penetration resolution between two colliding objects, the collision normal and the penetration depth. And if I use the separating axis theorem, then the vector that contains both of these informations is called minimum translation vector. It's the shortest vector that can separate two colliding objects. And I can get it by keeping track of the minimal length of the overlaps while iterating through the axes. The value of the minimal overlap will be the magnitude of the MTV, and the direction will be either the axis direction or the opposite. What I have so far is I can recognize if the two objects are colliding, and what I want to have is displaying the minimal translation vector once the two objects are overlapping. So I go to the code, and in the SAT function I create a minimal overlap variable, which will be the magnitude of the vector, and the smallest axis variable, which will be the direction. Then I go here to the iteration, and if the value of the overlap variable is positive, then I check if it is smaller than the current value of the minimal overlap. And if it is, or if there is no minimal overlap value yet, then it becomes the new value of the minimal overlap, and the direction gets the current axis direction. And if the maximal projection is larger for the first object than for the second object, then I negate this direction, because otherwise it will point towards the first object from the second one. And I copy this code for iterating through the axis of the second object, and in that case I use the opposite condition here. Now I will assume that it's always a vertex of one box that is colliding with the edge of the other one, like here. And the object that is colliding with its vertex, which is the green one right now, is stored in the vertex object variable. And if the shortest overlap is along the first object axis, then it will be the second object. For example, here the MTV is along the axis of the red rectangle, and the vertex object will be the green one. And if I project the vertex object onto the smallest axis, then the vertex with the smallest projection value will be the starting point of the minimum translation vector. So if I go to the project shape onto axis function, which is just here below, and I can return here not only with the minimal and maximal projections, but also with the vertex with the smallest projection value along the axis, which I will call vertex. I also create the vertex object variable, and it will be either the first or the second object based on which axis is the smallest one. And then here, before the SAT function returns true, I take the collision vertex and I draw the minimum translation vector starting in the coordinates of that vertex. And if I want to check how it's working, then I can see that, okay, I changed the angular friction for the box class so that I can control it easier. Set it to 0.6 instead. And what I can see is that if I go too far with the box into the other one, then the vector won't be accurate. And that happens because of the so-called containment issue. Here is an example for that. When one object's projection is inside of the other one's projection, then the minimum of the larger and the maximum of the smaller projections both belong to the same object, the one that's inside. And then I need to add to the overlap value either this length or this length, whichever is smaller. So I need to write an extra condition down in the iteration in the SAT function that will add this extra value to the overlap value. And if the smaller length that I need to add to the overlap value belongs to the difference of the maximal projections, then I also need to swap the direction of the minimum translation vector. I will check first if the overlap is a containment, and if it is, then I calculate the distance between the minimal projections and the difference between the maximal projections, and whatever is smaller, I'm adding that value to the overlap. And if it's the distance of the maximal projections, then I also negate the axis. And actually this should happen before I compare the overlap value to the minimal overlap, so it goes above this block. And I also copy it to the other iteration here to apply it for the case with the other axis. And if I check the canvas now, then I can see that the algorithm can now handle the containment. Now I have a big duplication in the code. I iterate through the axes that belong to the first object first, and then I iterate through again to the axes that belong to the second object. Instead of that, I can just have one iteration, and instead of storing the axes in two different arrays, I can just create one and put all of them in that. So I create an axis array, and to find the axes that I want to put in them, I write a separate function called findAxes that will take the two objects as arguments, and it will return with an array that consists of all the axes that I will need. So this is how the function looks like, and then I can delete one of the iterations so that I will have just one, and I need to rewrite the variable names. Instead of axes 1 and 2, I will have only axes. And the two iterations looked exactly the same except for this part. So here I take two cases. I know that the first object had two axes, so if the iterator is less than 2, then the object with the colliding vertex belongs to the second object. And if the iterator is larger or equal to 2, then I change this to 01 and this to smaller than. And then the duplication is gone, but the code still works the same, which I'm going to check just to make sure. And I think it looks alright. And the next thing I want to do is I want to keep going for the circle, because separating axis theorem also can work with the ball class. If I have a circle next to the rectangle object, then I will need one additional projection axis, and that will be parallel to the line segment that points from the ball's central point to the closest vertex of the rectangle. So in this case I will have three axes altogether, this here, and this here, and the ball will also have two vertex values, and those values will keep changing based on which axis I am currently projecting onto. For example, if I'm projecting on this one, then the two vertex points of the circle will be this and this. If I'm projecting on this, then these 2 points here, somewhere here. The projections of the circle will always have the length of 2 times r. So to be able to use the circle with the separating axis theorem, I will need to define the axes and also the vertices that will always be the two edges of the circle along the line that is parallel to the current projection axis. So first of all, I go and instantiate a ball object instead of the second box, and I change these box 2 objects to ball 1 objects, and then I go up to the ball class and I change the drawBall method to draw because that's shorter, and I remove the fill command from the draw method so that I can see the MTV better, and I also create an empty array for the vertex properties. Then to find the new projection axis, I need to find the closest vertex on the box object. So first I write a function called closest vertex to point that will take an object and a point, and it will return with the vertex of the object that is the closest one to the point. So this loop iterates through all the vertex, ball object, center point distances and picks the shortest one and returns with that. And then I go to the findAxis function that I just wrote for the two box objects, and I include one condition. If the object is a ball object, then this axis will go in the axis array. If it's a box object, then the original two. And this will apply for both of the objects. So it won't matter if the ball object is the first or the second one. And another thing I have to keep in mind is that if the first object is a ball, then the iterator here should be more or equal than 1 instead of 2. to start checking the second object axis. I will create another variable called first shape axis that stores the number of the axes needs to be checked for the first object, and I just put it in this condition. So there will be a function that will return 1 if the first object is a ball, otherwise it will return 2. And as I said, the vertices of the ball object keep changing based on the current axis the objects are projected onto. So the function that gives values for the vertices will be called setBallVertices along axis. It will take an object and an axis, and if the object is a ball, then the vertices will be radius away from its central point along the line of the given axis. One in the positive, one in the negative direction. Yeah, like this. And this is a method, so I need parentheses here to get the magnitude. And I will call this function every time I'm projecting a shape onto an axis, because that's when I will give new values to the ball object's vertices. So I'm calling that function on the top of this project shape onto axis function. And this should be enough to be able to display the MTV on the canvas for a circle and a rectangle. And there it is. And I can display the circle's vertices along all the 3 axes using the test circle function. And then if the 2 objects are colliding, then I can keep track of what vertices the circle had during the collision. Yeah, it keeps changing for the circle as the rectangle is moving. But I don't really need that. I just thought it's interesting how it looks like. And after this, whenever I want to add the new shape, the only thing I need to worry about is which axis do I need. For example, if I create a new ball object next to the one that I already have, then I need only one axis altogether, which will be along the line connecting the 2 center points. That means I go to the findAxis function and include one new condition. If both objects are ball objects, then I only need one single axis in the axis array, and the function can return with that. And see it on the canvas. It works as expected. And if I want to have a ball and a wall object on the canvas, then again I only need to change the conditions in the findAxis function to make sure that the axis array consists of the proper projection axis. For the projection axis of the wall object, I need the perpendicular direction to the wall, and to get the projection axis of the ball object, I need to find which vertex of the wall is closer to the ball center point, and I need to connect those 2 points. Then I go below, I create a wall object instead of one of the ball objects, and I check the canvas. And that seems to be working as well. Make a little bit bigger. Yep, looks good. And I'm going to apply the separating axis theorem on the capsule objects in the next episode.